Hey, hi, hello friends, I am back finally with a new video, and I know I always say I promise to get on a more regular schedule of posting and making videos, and honestly I have failed you guys countless times just because I'm terrible at time management. I just recently started a new job, and so for the last 3 weeks I have been dealing with another full-time job, and then on top of that I have some new additions to the family. I have this little cutie, and he takes up a lot of my time because he's blind in one eye. Ooh, sorry, sweetums. He was way too young to be taken from his mother. He was like super malnourished, and so we're just trying to get him to where he's getting healthier. And obviously, if you cannot tell, somebody's gaining a little belly. On top of that, we have a bunny. She's somewhere that way. We've gained quite a few amount of animals to the family, so we're just trying to get situated with working, balancing, taking care of the animals, and all that stuff. But without further ado, I'm just gonna jump right into this video because I'm super duper excited to be talking about this today. Alright, so if you guys cannot tell from the title, this is going to be a book review on the lovely Renegades by Marissa Meyer. So I'm going to start off with telling you the synopsis of this book before going into any of my thoughts and opinions of it. This book is about villains and superheroes, essentially. The villains are called anarchists, and the superheroes are called the Renegades. And the main character for the anarchists, her name is Nova, and the main character for the Renegades, his name is Adrian. One day, the anarchists have a failed plan of taking down the Renegades, and so they are basically interrogated by the Renegades, and the anarchists come up with this lovely plan for Nova to change her background and stuff through another anarchist and try out for the Renegades. Little did she know or expect that she would be accepted into the Renegades, and so she starts in and is a renegade as well as an anarchist secretly. So we follow Nova trying to learn all she can about the Renegades, and while she's there she learns quite a few secrets, and she learns quite a bit about the Renegades that not many people, especially the public, know about. In the meantime, though, there seems to be a relationship, or somewhat of a relationship, forming between her and Adrian, the renegade. Adrian has a secret identity, and so Nova also has her secret identity. She's two different people, and Adrian is also two different people. In this story, we follow basically that exact thing. We kind of just see how Nova is doing as a renegade, what she learns, and how the anarchists are doing, and we see all the battles and all the fun stuff. On Goodreads, I rated this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I don't want to say I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but at the same time I do want to say I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So it's somewhere between a 4 and a like 4.75. I just don't know yet. I could not give it a full 5-star review though. There is just part of me that couldn't do that. So some of the flaws I have with this book is that, first off, there was not that much character development, in my opinion. Like, yeah, we learned a bit about Nova, we learned a bit about Adrian, but like, I feel like the character development was just extremely overlooked, and Marissa Meyer kind of just skipped that part. On top of that, the world building was slightly overlooked. It was kind of more focused on the plot and all that, and while I'm not too entirely upset about that, I am slightly upset about the fact that, one, I couldn't really picture the world in my mind. While we do have this one character, Max, who builds a glass replica of the entire Gatlin City, I just still could not, for the life of me, picture what exactly was going on when things were going on, just because I did not get enough description of the setting, in my opinion. On top of that, there are so many other characters that are super vital and crucial to the story, and a majority of the time we focus just on Nova and Adrian, and I get they are the two main characters of this story, but there are so many other characters that should have been brought out more, more explanation to, and all this stuff, because they did play some crucial roles in this book. A lot of the anarchists have their names and like their alias and their powers explained, but we don't really get to see how even the Renegades or any sort of prodigy got their powers, or we don't get to see their stories. We get to see a couple of stories of how Oscar, who's one of the Renegades, how Ruby, who's also one of the Renegades, and how, you know, Nova got their powers slightly with Nova. But the thing is I would love to know how a lot of the prodigies come to get their powers, because it's either they had it when they were born or they get it from a certain situation. And so the thing for me is I kind of want to know more about how they receive these powers through birth and how people become prodigies and all this stuff. So those were just my main flaws with the book that weren't that big, but the biggest problem I had with this book, the reason I could not give it a 5-star rating, was because there's this huge plot twist at the end. And I am the type of person, and a lot of you can shun me for this, I read the last sentence of a book a majority of the time. And a majority of the time, I don't really get any spoilers from it. It's just kind of to see, you know, I don't know, it's just like this weird habit. So I read the last sentence of this book, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And like, I didn't fully read the sentence, like I was just like skimming, which is normally what I do. So I was reading, and like the last sentence just never really, you know, clicked in my mind until I actually read it when I finished the book. But we get to a point where Nova is sitting at her desk doing a job for the Renegades, and Max is doing something, and she looks and sees him doing this thing, and she then talks to Adrian about it after a whole bunch of things go down, and Adrian says something about Max's power and all this stuff. And that is where, in my brain, I completely started formulating ideas. So, the thing is I guessed the plot twist around 100 to 200 pages before the end of this book, which kind of ruined the ending, because when I got to the end, while I was happy that I was right, the entire time all I could think of was, oh, if this is the ending, like I completely guessed it. But with it being the ending, I kind of wonder how the second book's gonna go. But still, it ruined and dampened my reading experience because I guessed this plot twist. And for those of you who don't know, because the majority of you don't, I'm not really good at guessing plot twists. Like, you could tell me a spoiler from the book that would help me guess the plot twist, and I just wouldn't be able to figure it out still. So for this, when I actually guessed the plot twist, it had to mean that Marissa Meyer had written it in such a way that was so apparently obvious that even my daft brain could understand it. So while this book was a really enjoyable read, there were some things that I had problems with, and the fact that I could guess the plot twist just diminished the reading experience on it, as well as that it took me 16 days to read this book, and that's because I would get tired, I would have not enough time to read it at work, I'd be doing other things besides reading, and so me not being able to read it in one sitting like I had wanted to kind of put a damper on me reading this book. But the thing is if anyone's looking into reading this book, I would definitely recommend it, because even though a lot of you could probably guess the plot twist, it is still a very enjoyable read. This is the first book I believe I've read from Marissa Meyer, and her writing is pretty enjoyable. It's not the best writing I've seen, and I'm pretty sure at one point in this book I had caught an editing error, which is definitely not her fault. It's, you know, an editing error. But it's still a very enjoyable read, and I definitely recommend it. After reading this, it makes me really excited to pick up the second book and read that one. I don't know if the second book is already out or if it's coming out. I'm super excited to read that. That's kind of a smaller version of my thoughts and opinions on this book summarized into this shorter review kind of video. But if you guys like to see more reviews on books, let me know in the comments down below, because I don't mind doing reviews on books. It's just half the time I don't know which books to review, which books not to review, and all that stuff. But if you like this video, you should give it a huge thumbs up, and you should hit that red button down below to be subscribed to my channel, and hit the little bell to be notified whenever I post any more new videos. If you have any video requests or have any thoughts and opinions, or you would like to share your thoughts and opinions on this book, you can leave those in the comments down below as well. I would love to chit chat with you guys. But in the meantime, I will see y'all in my next video. Bye!